Hello, hello. How are you? My camera centered. Um, Most people won't be able to notice this, but I moved to a new apartment on Friday, and it's identical to the other one, but it now faces west, and it's the same layout, etc. But it feels so much nicer and calmer here, so I'm very happy. So I had a beautiful, deep conversation with a friend, a lady friend, this morning. I responded to a post that's going around on Facebook about giving men advice about how to be with women and how they need to change so that they no longer have to deal in frustration and anger of all these unconscious men that need to really do their work and go. What turns women on is us doing our work and fixing ourselves and all this kind of stuff, but completely at arm's length, which really, I guess I'd call it offended me, because I stand as one of those men, and I meet so many beautiful, heart-centered, loving men that don't have the first fucking idea of how to relate to women. And I say that with vehemence, not of anger, but just of frustration, because I reach out every day, myself included, and try and connect with those women, not in the way that the woman was saying, where it's asking about sex and what turns you on and all this kind of stuff. But I'm going to tell you right now that as a man, I can see how that would start to happen. When a man has reached out so many times and been heart-centered and been hurt and wounded and damaged so many times by women not owning their shit, and men have the wounds just as much as women. And I'm going to tell you right now, this is not a rant against women. This is a call for sharing the blame, because the very behaviors that women hate have come because women use them to hide. They use them to not step into their wound, their discomfort, their whatever. And I'm going to tell you right now, the people we attract into our life, whether we like it or not, are the people at the same vibration as us. And to make statements and try and change outside of ourselves rather than taking some responsibility for what's showing up and going within and starting to do that work. I read this all the time, where it's like women have done their work and men have not. Bullshit. Nobody's fully completed their work. If you don't have a conscious relationship, you haven't done all your work, because it's not showing up for you. If you were fully healed, it would happen. It has nothing to do with men. It has nothing to do with women. It has everything to do with taking responsibility for what's showing up in the moment. And I just see this bypassing, this victimness. Yeah, it may be a rant on what they felt and how everything needs to change, but are you truly conscious if you are projecting outside yourself that that's the blame, that's the cause, I figured it all out, I'm hot shit, I'm whatever? Women haven't. But I'll tell you, men are being way more vulnerable about stuff, and the really conscious men are talking about it and having a conversation like this as a reflection, not to hurt, not to blame. And I'm not projecting on anyone. I'm saying, own our shit. I choose to own my shit. Yes, I have wounds. I've been hurt by many, many women in the past, but I'm not choosing to say, holy shit, it's all your fault. Smarten up. I'm saying, if I have this is what relationship really is to connect with another person, to do our spiritual work, to relate with another person, to let someone in, to see our shadow, to see our wounds, to see our vulnerability, to see our pain, emotions, etc. And yes, there's sexuality and pleasure and happiness and all this other kind of shit, but the root of any relationship that's going to go forward and goes to depth has all those things. And we're repeatedly trying to go out and find this depth to somebody that we can interact with. We're trying to find our equal and opposite, and the universe will bring our equal and opposite, whether it's somebody that you hate because they're talking about sexuality or they have a wound or whatever. Well, if you're hating and you have a wound and you're seeing other people as wounds, guess what? you have that work to do as well, because they're a part of you. We're all part of each other. And to keep poking fingers and saying, oh, where have all the conscious men gone? I see a lot of conscious women, but I see conscious women with huge boundaries and huge barriers coming up that are not owning what shows up in their life. Men are doing the same. They're not owning what's showing up. Oh, where are all the women? And I don't have enough sexuality in my life. I'm wounded. I'm in lack. All this kind of stuff. It's happening. What if somebody had the courage to reach out, even in a really mangled way, asking about sexuality or asking what turns you on or whatever the post was about? What if that was like, I see something in you that I'd really like to interact with, but if you despise them just for asking, are you propagating that wound? Are you helping to deal with what's inside? Or are you just continuing to add to the mess? I really feel it's adding to the mess. And I'm not speaking here and risking, some days women want to cut your balls off for speaking like this, but I'm risking to be a reflection so that we can both heal and change. When we do the finger thing, how many fingers are pointing back? It's like, okay, men are doing this. Fully agree. I see men doing it. It makes me disgusted that they're to that point. But I'm going to tell you right now, they got to that point by being a good man, by trying all these other ways. And finally, they get so frustrated, they get so lack of having touch and connection and having to jump through hoops for women that say they're conscious, but they're really just putting up boundaries so they don't have to deal with their own shit. They eventually just get tired and they just ask directly, because beating around the bush and dating for months and taking women for suppers and all this kind of stuff, which is all the standard, has beaten them to a pulp. And they don't know what to do. And I could put tears right now because that's my experience. And I know many, many, many men that have had that experience. But if I don't speak vulnerably about it, how can I show a woman that my frustration is that? I don't blame them. There's so many freaking things in this world that have beat us all to hell and inverted the whole matrix and love and connection and all this kind of stuff. We don't even have a chance. But if I don't say, I do not know how to approach a woman now without being judged or being said that I'm doing something wrong or I missed something, there is a laundry list this long that most of the women I've interacted with, I'm in my 50s, it may be smaller for younger women, that they want in a man, but I am never told what they want or what they desire or what they need to feel met or to feel trust or whatever. And I just sit in this constant skipping rope match trying to line up. And I have needs and desires too, but I'm never asked. It's just like, here, I'm testing your score and checking you off against this list, and I'll reject you at a moment's notice. How many women have done that? Where it's just like, I can't deal with this. This is my ex again or whatever. That person came into your life to try and help resolve that. And I've got exes too. And I've got worries about not being seen or met, or that sexuality isn't even in my possibility or my choice because the woman gets to choose and blah, blah, blah. It's all mangled. We're all having problems. But if we took the time to be conscious and say, okay, there's a wounded child there on the other side, and to expect that if you got a wounded child, to expect the other person not to show up with a wounded child is pretty insane, because like meets like, vibration matches vibration. We pull in exactly what we need in the moment. There's a person that's willing to be outgoing and maybe made a statement or did a text or whatever, trying to connect because they don't know how to connect anymore, and they're just begging to be met. But they don't know how to meet you because you haven't said, and every woman's different. So it's like, hey, if I could have a response and I've responded in a way that made the woman feel uncomfortable, that woman could say, oh, hey, why would you approach me with such a deep, intimate thing so quickly? I prefer to get to know you a little bit. Maybe that guy would be like, holy shit, okay, here's somebody I can start to trust. Here's somebody I can go deeper with. And maybe he'll show some emotion. Maybe he'll show some real vulnerability at the beginning just to see if you're going to use that to smash him afterwards, because that happens. It's a control issue sometimes. It's a trying to find a common ground when both are really hurt and wounded, But if nobody gives any ground, nobody wins. You both lose. It's like judgment. Okay, yeah, you have a wound, or you cried in front of me, or you said something that made me feel uncomfortable. If you don't reflect that back and you just walk away, no one wins. You just propagate that feeling again. And the man's like, I don't know what I did wrong. And I'm going to tell you right now, I don't know what I've done wrong for 3/4 of the breakups and other things that I've had in my life. Something changed in their head. And I'm not saying crazy. I'm just saying something shifted, some gear went, something shifted, or some level of vulnerability came that they weren't willing to deal with. So that just smash and go away. And I don't ever want to see you again. Yikes. So imagine the number of men that are going around with that. Imagine the number of men that didn't have a great mother figure, did not have a good, solid, feminine trust. Maybe the mother was narcissistic or codependent, or she had her own wounds. And that man is now walking around, walking on eggshells everywhere he goes, trying to make connection. And all he wants to do is serve a woman, to love her, to respect her, to be touched, to feel touched, maybe have children with that woman, share intimacy, go be vulnerable, feel really safe in being in all his emotion, and allowing the woman to be safe in all of her emotion, and to try and find that balance of polarities that we're all mixed up on. Men are over feminized and women are over masculine, and we're just clashing because everybody's trying to be something they're not. And men are deeply confused. And we don't even know how to start that conversation. And sometimes when we start that conversation, we unearth a whole bunch of trauma, trigger, frustration from the woman. And then we just get smushed. I don't know how else to describe it, like trashed, or the woman's group, everybody goes against that man because he's being finally honest. And oh, geez, I just want to cry now. But I don't know how many times I've been trashed as a man for trying to talk about this stuff. But I love myself so much right now. I'm willing to get trashed or trumped or open my heart or be vulnerable to women so that it happened. And Sharmila is saying, Sue, in my greatest proportion, yes. But yes, there are women. I'm talking about women that I've related to. I'm not talking about friendships or other things, even though some of that has happened. But the feeling of these posts that are out there is that a lot of men are hurting women, but it's equal and opposite. The harm is coming from all sides. And I don't want that, but it's the experience I've had. Not that I chose it, but I can talk about mother wounds and other wounds. And it's the way the feminine showed up for me from the very beginning. And I'm not blaming my mother. My mother had her wounds. She had her problems. But to climb out of that, I need someone that's willing to be equal and opposite, to match up, to share about their wounds. Because like I said, we match up to the people that are equal in our vibration, that have similar wounds, equal and opposite wounds. And this declaration, this statement is me, like a lot of other men that are looking for someone consciously to be able to explore that with. Yes, all women have not hurt me. I agree. But every time I reached out, there was a wound of something that wasn't discussed. It was probably a misunderstanding. I don't even know what it is, because a lot of times there was never communication. So I'm saying, let's talk. Let's start when stuff is being shared that doesn't feel good. Let's talk about it. And let's say, hey, why did you say that? Maybe there's a wound coming out, or maybe you're triggering me. Let's talk about it. Let's have a conscious communication. Let's make relating. I don't know what the hell you're trying to get at, but you can fuck off, Sharmila. This is what I was talking about. Women that I'm triggering the wound of, they'll make statements, say, do I even care? I am fucking so deeply caring in this moment of sharing something and having the opportunity to have someone try and wound me back because they don't want to deal with it, that I'm on this post. I'm saying it right now. I do fucking care. I fucking care about everyone. I love women so deeply. And to see that come back, I'd like you to reflect for yourself. And if you want to be my friend and you want to stay in here, take it with the grain of salt. This is going to trigger the fuck out of people. And I'm risking it because I care. Because I fucking care. Like so fucking deeply right now to get those comments just show a really lack of awareness. So I am doing my absolute best to try and reflect back so that people can see what's going on. I'm dealing with the wound. I'm expressing it. I'm talking it vulnerably, even though I could be harmed and I could be misunderstood, but not in a projecting way. I'm not saying anybody needs to fix themselves. I'm saying this is what I felt as a man, and I've seen many men, and I've talked to many men, and we've had circles about it and shared. This should be gold for people that are not having any success, or these things keep showing up in their life. This is the frustration that's inside that men don't get to talk about in public. I'm trying to talk about it in public. I'm trying to share it to be a reflection. And thank you, Kirsten, for your comment. I'm doing my best here, as we're all doing. And I'm not blaming anyone. I'm saying this is what I've been feeling so that maybe women can hear that. Give me an invitation to come in. Give me some way of how you want to be integrated to or talked to, and I will do that. Because I'd never been taught any of this stuff. I've never been taught how to relate to a woman. The only example I have of that is with my mother, most men. And then maybe some dating through high school or a little later on in life, an ex-wife. And those, if it's an ex and you've moved on, more than likely those things didn't work out. So maybe you were doing it wrong. I need conscious women that will reflect for me and say, hey, that didn't feel good. Or I prefer to be dealt with this way. And trust me, we learn quick. Because there's no teachers on this stuff. There's no stuff explaining how to navigate this minefield. And women have a whole pile of control in all this. They're conscious about their body and they're being careful and setting strong boundaries and all this kind of stuff. To get in a door that's that wide is very, very, very complicated for a man. And I don't shame that. I just say, when the wall closes to protect, to start, eventually there has to be an opening of the door to allow possibility. And how do I get there? How do I get your trust? How do I start to begin to change with no courses? And I go sit in a men's group with a whole bunch of men that are doing this. Where's a place that I can go all learn this stuff? Where's a place that women are consciously speaking to men and sharing this stuff, other than, it's almost like mansplaining is the way I see some of the posts. It's like, go and do this, go and do that, go and do this, go fix this, and then come back and I'll see if you're ready. It doesn't work because there is no places. It's not a specific person or a specific way that's shared. It's here, suggestion, go do your work. And that's really hot for me. Well, I love you all. I'm doing my best. And I'm sitting here speaking vulnerably about my side. And it may not line up with your side. And that's the truth. Let's have comments about it. Let's talk about it. Let's say, oh, you made me feel uncomfortable, or you were too direct, or you're whatever. Or don't say, do you even care? I'm fucking caring. Fuck off. You can go away if you want to be a twat, but that's the way I see women. And it's really great that it's coming up, that she's triggered, and now she's doing this. So I don't mind saying fuck off to people that aren't really hearing the point of the statement. So, and you can look at that as another man that's not caring. I am putting my balls out in the line here. And if you want to talk like that and question my truth, because you can't even fucking make a comment about your own life or have your own vulnerability, goodbye. So I love you all. I am glad I did this, and I'm glad that she showed up in the way that she has, and she doesn't need to be a part of my life. Go do your work. Just like women are trying to do, go do your work. And I love you. So have a good day. Smash Brothers. Oh, yay. Is that a friend that I want in my life? In my past, that would have probably destroyed me, but it's just another wounded little girl that's not even willing to come to the table to have a discussion. It's just smash you and tell you to fuck off. So I love you all. You have a great day. And thank you, Sharmila. You can go Go with your little sisters and have fun. Goodbye. I don't smash women. You smash yourself. Goodbye.